I decided I wanted to test on her a little bit, so we're going to have to plug up all these holes and then get started on this. But for the moment, we're going to put this in. This is my vent cap. Remember, we built this a ways back, and it's got the little vent, so we're going to put this in, put my vent tube on here, just block it off. I got a little bit of oil sitting right here in a little cap. We're going to lube up this little grommet here and make it nice and slickery. And then we're going to lube up my, I got a little bit of oil on there, which I didn't want to do because I'm going to be putting some adhesive on here to cushion this so this isn't rubbing metal to metal. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe my hands because I don't want to get this all over the place. Maybe I should have put this down here. And then we're going to slide this in. My dilemma, folks. I was watching my own videos while I'm editing, and I noticed y'all spend a lot of time looking at my waist and my stomach and the instead of, you know, my head. But I try to focus on what I'm doing as opposed to, you know, me. But y'all can write in the comments, kind of give me some hints. Would you rather me pull the camera back a little bit so you can see everything, or do you like the fact that I just focus on what I'm doing? You know? Come on, baby. They didn't make this easy. I wonder if I have to. Maybe I should lock the wheels on this thing. It's not going in very easy. Oil or no oil. Maybe we can get a little bit of a tappity. Here goes nothing. Ooh. That's not. See, this little screw in doohickey here is going to make it hard on me. Attempt number 492. I took the little doodah out of there, and dang it, we got to make sure we put this in the right place. The hole has to go towards the top of the tank. Now I can just kind of hit her in the right spot here. Ready? Jeez Louise, Edith. It does not want to go in. I got some greasage. We're going to just put her in here. This stuff melts really. In fact, just the warmth of my hand is turning it to goo. And so I'm thinking once we start putting some gas in here, but actually once I test it, I'm going to be putting some water in here to clean it out anyway. So let's see if this will work. This is not an easy project right here. This should have been like a piece of cake, right? But no, it's a Gremlin. Well, actually, this is a Mopar, so I don't know what its problem is. Dang it. It's like, this is a Mopar nipple, so it should go right in. Golly, Sergeant Carter. I'm going to try heating the grommet up. See if I can't get it to soften up a little. She's rather rock hard. Yeehaw! Now we're going to put this back in. Plan is, normally I would put this up like this, and then this is going to go up to the gas filler. But for the purpose of testing, we're going to do it like this. And that way, I can tip this tank upside down, and I only have to fill it this much to see if it leaks or not. So that's my plan. Moment of truth, folks. I'm going to turn the water on, see if she leaks. This one over here is going to be the first one because the water level is going to get up to that faster than anywhere else. When the water starts to run out the back, then I'll know she's full. So far, so good. Well, I'm happy as a clam. I've got water running out the backside of it, and that means both of these are full to the top and no leaks. See the water coming out over here? That's because it's leaking from the backside. But no water coming from these two. So that means she's a good one. We did good, no leaks. Now we just got to clean this water out of here. And that might be your question. You know, water. If I'll give you my whole head. There we go. If I put water in here, I'm going to get it out, right? We're going to go ahead and get it out, and there's a thing called dry gas, which is basically alcohol. And whoop, I'm falling over here. And we put ethanol, ethanol, however you say it, in all our gas now. So probably not going to run a lot of that in this car because the rubber hoses and the carburetor, let's try that in English. The carburetor is not designed to handle these modern gases with the ethanol in them. I'm going to clean the top of this with some mineral spirits because she's got a little bit of grease and undesirables on her from me messing around with it. So I figured we'll put a little bit of mineral spirits on a rag, because we're going to stick some sound, dead proof, whatever you want to call it. Usually these had some form of a rubber mat on them, and it actually caused them to rust most of the time. But I don't want this sitting there rattling against the bottom of the car either, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of acoustic matting on it. And I needed to clean it up before I do so because she had a bunch of dust and dirt and grease from me trying to get that thing in there. And I also need to apologize. These allergies they're getting me. And so if you hear me sniffling a lot, I apologize. It's just trying to keep the snot from running out of my nose. But let me get the acoustic mat, and I got it nice and clean now. So we're going to stick her on there, cut it to shape, and stick it on there, right? Making a template for the top of this is very highly technical, extremely technical. So make sure you watch carefully. No, I'm kidding. It's not technical at all. It's just a matter of cutting a piece of paper. Now, this is a highly technical tool. These are like, I think they're like 59 cents at Harbor Freight. Grab you a handful of these next time you're over there. These are awesome. I love cheap stuff that works good, you know? So I'm just going to roll out a piece of this. That looks long enough. Look at that. It just doesn't get any easier than that. You know what I mean? So, you know, this is actually masking paper, but it's dirty over here, and so it's not missing anything. But the cool thing about it is you can kind of see where you're cutting. You know what I mean? So, just going to kind of follow the contour of the tank. I'm actually holding the paper and leaning this against the tank as I cut. And that way, there we go, just like that. And then we just do this. So we're just going to go. Not rocket science, folks. You just kind of get her close and, you know, put her in there. That's it. Now I'm just going to go ahead and get the, gotta be careful not to cut yourself with this. I'm going to get the acoustic mat, lay this on top of it, and cut it out. I line the top edge of this up with the top edge of here, so we want to waste as little material as possible. And I'm just getting my marker, gonna just run it down the side of here. That way it won't shift, you know, once I get this in here. And then we just kind of draw it out. Like I said, it's not rocket science. If you've got a little bit left over, it's not a big deal. You gotta trim it, or if it's a little bit big, you can just fold it over. You know. Now, here's the secret. Well, not the secret, but the hard part. I don't know for sure that this little knife is gonna cut this matting. We'll find out. No, it's doing okay. Oh yeah, it's cutting it. You could use a carpet knife too, I'd imagine. Oh, we don't want the paper to come off just yet. Last but not least, take our mat, Peel this back a little bit. You can just take, something small like this, you could probably just take it all off. But I'm going to do a little bit at a time. Put this on here. We'll probably have to trim it a little bit. I did buy a roller just for this, but since this is not really, anything that's major has to be flat or anything, I'd say we can just push it down with our fingertips. Come on, baby. There we go. The great thing about using a Mopar gas tank, you can get a sending unit, brand new. So when you're dealing with parts that don't necessarily go where they're going, if you use a more popular application, shall we say, because obviously, an A-body, Dart, Valiant, for those who don't know what an A-body is on a Mopar, it's a Valiant, a Dart, a Duster, and even some Barracudas from 69 and down. And so if I'm using parts from one of them, it's pretty common. So I can get parts for it all day long. The only thing is, I will probably write on this gas tank somewhere that it is an A-body Mopar. Because if in the case that someday somebody does decide to reproduce a Gremlin gas tank, and somebody goes to change this one out, they're going to get the new gas tank and go, wait, this is the wrong one. So if I mark it somewhere, I might just get a Sharpie. It'll probably never stay there, but I'll mark it with a paint marker maybe, and that way somebody somewhere, if I ever sell this car, will know that it's not a Gremlin gas tank. But anyway, this is thinking ahead, right? This is a sending unit for the Mopar. Ooh, it's kind of pretty. I don't want to. It's got the fragile stuff up top, and so I don't want to grab a hold of it and mess it up. But there we go. Not much to it, is there? It's kind of just there. I guess it goes in kind of this way. I don't know if you can see the hole from here. I'm going to light her up for you a little bit better. But this is it. These things, I keep these in stock because these things get holes all the time, and a lot of times the sending unit's good, and you just gotta get rid of this little brass barrel that's, you know, gets a hole in it, fills up with gas and sinks, and then you just always got an empty tank. But this is beautiful. I've got my little lock ring here and a little gasket. That's pretty much it. This came from, and they didn't give it to me, I promise you that. I had to pay full price. OER. And I believe I bought it through Summit Racing. There you go, Summit freebie from me, right? Yeah, you could probably help me out. But anyhow, just like you, I gotta pay for stuff. So, but that one it's an OER, but it came from Summit Racing, I believe, and it's a pretty decent looking piece. So there we go. But let me quit talking because nobody wants to hear me talk. Let's get started. Just for the record, this is a week later from last week. And I've left this hole open for a reason, because if you remember, we put water in there to test it. And I wanted to give the water some time to evaporate. So I left this out on purpose last week and let it sit for a week so that we don't have a problem, shall we say. So that's enough said there, but that's why I left it open all this time. So we're actually a week later from the time you saw me install this tank. And then we just got to kind of worm her up in here. And you know what? Let's see, make sure this is in there the right way. I'm going to lower the car a little because I'm kind of standing on my tippy toes. I'm at what I like to call head banging height. And this is just the right height to bang your head on everything. And I'm just kind of double checking on this to make sure I don't have it upside down. Probably should have done that before I put it in. No, I didn't. So we're going to pull her back out. This needs to be this way, right? Because, let's see. Whoops, there goes my gasket. Because we want to put this at the bottom, right? So this is going to be at the bottom, and this is full, and this is empty. So we want this up. I should have done that before I started, but no, I didn't. So go ahead and stick this baby in here and make sure you can see what I'm doing instead of looking at the back of my head. That's all good. So that's got to go straight up, which is good because here's the nipple right here that I got to hook the line to. So that's all looking pretty good. There we go. In she goes. Come on, baby. There we go. You got to finagle stuff. I don't know what that's all about. So there we go. Come on. There we go. I was going to say it doesn't seem to want to cooperate. It only goes in one way. There we go. We've got a little nib so it can only go in one way. Then we're going to put our lock collar on there. Now there's a tool. And I'm sure it's very cool. And there's a tool to get these on here. And yeah, I ain't got one. So we're going to use the old-fashioned screwdriver and hammer trick. Okay, I did say screwdriver, and I'm going to use a brass drift, or just a piece of brass. And I figured if I'm going to show you all how to do something, I should make believe I know what I'm doing. And you know, taking a screwdriver there will sometimes put a nick in it or mess it up. So I figure if I use this, I almost look like I know what I'm doing. So that's what we're going to do. They got little nibs on here. We just put this up against the little nib and you hit it until it's got these little stops. And you just keep knocking it over until it hits the stop. And then you stop. That's pretty much all there is to hooking that up. Now this one, I don't know if you remember, we had an alligator clip, woohoo, on here. And that was actually your ground lead that goes to sending unit. And here's going to be the clincher if the sending unit actually is correct. Because we got the AMC gas gauge and the Mopar sending unit, so we're going to keep our fingers crossed on whether or not she's going to be, you know, right. But anyway, that was that. I got to put a piece of hose from here to here. This is the vent tube, so we're going to have to bend her a little bit here. Uh-oh, got to bend it. get it out here, and then the vent tube goes here. And actually, yeah, I reckon that works. Okay. And so that's all I'm going to do next. I'm just going to hook these two up, put some hose clamps, put my little vent tube on here, and that's done. So let's move on to the next thing. Just for the record, when I said head banging height, I wasn't lying. I probably hit my head, 926 times so far. But anyway, got me a little piece of wire. I bet y'all thought I was going to leave that alligator clip, didn't you? Yeah, no. We're not going to leave the alligator clip on there. That's just Pachiqua. What I've got a little piece of wire, because the wire for, I guess I was supposed to run it over the top of the tank, and yeah, I didn't. It wasn't run that way originally either, so that's probably why I didn't think about it. Yeah, let's blame the other guy. But nonetheless, I need to lengthen the wire a little bit, just a little bit. 6 inches, 8 inches, yeah, I've got this fitting, which is, an oddball. It's fatter on one end and small on the other. This is the end the wire goes into. This actually pushes over. I'm sure you've seen a lot of these on these vintage cars. It just pushes over the little terminal on either a coil or, a sensor of some sort, or in this case, over the sending unit, the little place where the wire goes. So rather than putting a nut and a bolt and a nut and a washer, I'm just going to have this little push-on deal. Now, if this gets loosened up, you can always crush it a little bit. They work just fine. Makes life easier, just slide it on and off. It doesn't slide off easily. You really got to kind of wrestle with it. But it's instead of a nut and a bolt and all that, which that's good too. But it leaves the terminal exposed where you put the nut. This is going to shield the entire thing. Even though this works off of a ground, if you accidentally get a ground, you're gonna say full when you're not. And if anybody's ever run out of gas, not fun. So anyway, that's why I'm going to use this. This is actually a solder terminal. What it is it's a crush terminal, like a regular crimper. You put this in here, and you put it in, and then when you crimp it, you heat it up with the heat gun, and it'll shrink these ends down, and it'll also melt this solder in here, and it'll solder the terminal together, and then shrink tube around the wire. Pretty slick, right? So that's what we're going to use if I can get these in here, and I'm going to do it without my glasses because I look like grandma with the glasses, and I got an image, right? No, not really, but we're going to do it that way. I've got these. I've seen these on other shows, and I'm like, those are awesome, because I'm always using the manual crimp it, crush it, do it by hand kind of thing. And it always seems to either over crush it or you cut through the insulation. These things rock. $16. I got them, I think, from Summit Racing. I'm sure you could probably get them at Harbor Freight too. So you just stick it in here. It's got a color code. And these are blue, sort of-ish. So I'm going to use the blue, which is the one in the middle. It may or may not be the right way to do it. I don't know. But I'm going to try. And I may have to put my glasses on here. But we're going to go ahead and crimp it down. Oh, that didn't work out so good because the wire fell. I probably should put my glasses. All right, sorry folks. Gotta put the glasses. Here we go. And let's see if we can get her to go back in there. She's a little crushed, but not bad. Should be able to get it in there. Here we go. I should probably put either my hands up or the camera down. I'm going to take a little look-see in here, get some light in there. Now, it's in there. So let's finish crushing it. It's supposed to. There we go. I don't know what's going on now. You got to let it all the way up, I guess. It's supposed to stay closed. Okay, these were a bargain brand, I admit it. So it's just not going. I don't know that's supposed to be all of it, I guess. Well, and it didn't work. So, never mind. Forget I said anything. Alright, I figured it out. It wasn't the tool, it was the user. That'd be me. And if you notice, I'm still kind of ducking down here because I got the whole head banging thing going on. Alright. I had to use the red side, so this is the new red. This is also blue, but I'm going to use red on it too, because again, this is the new red. This one goes all the way through, so we're going to have to kind of figure on where it's going. And this is one of those things that it won't. Here, I'm going to have to. This won't let go once you start clamping it. So if your finger's stuck in there, guess what? It's going to hurt. Anyway, we did it, and that's the red. I know I had to bring it down here where you couldn't see. I apologize. But just remember, this is the new red. Alright, so both of these are pretty good. I'm going to heat this one up. In fact, I'll go ahead and show you that. Give me a second, and I'll go ahead. Well, I can't do that yet. My bad. We'll get a close-up of it. I'm going to put it on the... I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to put this on the other wire and crimp it on, and then we're going to go ahead and then I'll heat it up and solder it, and I'll kind of let you all watch when I do that. Alright, as you can see, I've got the wires, together. And if I get my heat gun working, that would be awesome. There we go. As you can see, I've got the wires spliced. Get my heat gun. I'm going to focus in the middle here. And sometimes it's probably best to do it this way. That way when the solder starts to melt, it doesn't run out. But there we go. See it shrinking up? And there you go, the solder's, whoop, there you go, the solder's starting to ooze out. So we're going to stop now. I don't know if you can see that. The solder actually started oozing out. I got a little too hot, and it came out of the plastic. So I wasn't able to see that good enough. The plastic is now compromised, so what I'm going to do is I'll end up wrapping her in a little bit of black tape. No big deal. But that's a soldered joint now. And that's a whole lot better than just a regular crimp joint that can get corrosion. But if you'll see, up here and here, there's a couple of breaks in this line, but the wire's in good shape, just the insulation's a little sad. So I'm gonna wrap her with black tape anyway. Let's get the, ooh, that's hot. She is a warm one. But anyway, that's it. See, I bet y'all thought I was gonna go ahead and use that alligator clip. Nope, can't do that. But there you go. That's the right way, in my opinion, to fix it. And well, except for melting the plastic, don't do that. Don't do. You can actually do it with a small torch or even a match if you want to. And then I'll show you how I'm going to put this on. I am the son of an electrician, so if you buy a car and it's got black tape everywhere, there's a really good chance I've owned that car. And that's just a sad truth. But I'm not a duct tape aficionado, believe it or not, which is strange because I have done building maintenance for many, many years. And so building maintenance guys, with my last job, just for a story, they were amazed that I didn't use duct tape. They're like, "Do you need duct tape?" I'm like, "Nope." And they're like, "Why? What do you mean you don't need duct tape? I thought you were a maintenance guy." So, but give me some of this black tape though. Gotta use that up. This is not a solder joint. The new red, by the way. So it's not a solder joint, so that is why I black taped. I could have stopped black taping around here after the joint, but I went ahead and finished going all the way down the wire just because this one is not a solder joint, and I wanted to make sure it was at least somewhat waterproof. I guess the right thing to do would have been to shrink tube it, which, hindsight's 20/20. So if you do this, then by all means, whoops, I'm going the wrong way. By all means, shrink tube it. That would be the better option. So here we go. And I probably could still do that. Jeepers. Here I'm not eating my Wheaties, or that tape was tough. Here we go. It's a ground wire, so it shouldn't get too horribly dirty here. Well, okay, yeah, maybe it will. But anyhow, there we go. I think I might get some shrink tube. Let me see about that. I took my own advice, and I got some shrink tube. Just for the look-see at what I've done in here. There you go. That's it. Here's my feed. Whoops. There's my feed tube. There's a little piece we just made. And this is the vent tube. Goes up into the charcoal canister, just like this one over here also goes to the charcoal canister. This is going off the vent that I made in the side of the tank. Remember, so when I fill it up, it allows it to go all the way to the top, doesn't create an air bubble. So this is the one. It also goes to the canister, which they're both a complete waste of time. But you do need this vent. Normally you just, vent it. Well, this goes to this. Whoa, you can't see it. It's too bad. Well, let me see if I get some light on that, and I'll show you where the other vent tube goes. But yeah, I'll show you where this one's going. It goes to the canister as well, but it's too dark. I'm going to have to get some light, and I'll show you. That was easy. I had a dome light, drop light right here in front of my face. Just had to turn it on. But this thing is some form of useless valve, and it goes to the canister as well, and that's where this vent tube is going. It goes up in there, and then it comes into here, and then this goes to the canister, and goes to the canister that way, and it just wastes a bunch of time and money. It is probably clogged, but it doesn't matter. But this one I blew out. This one over here I blew out before I hooked it up, so it should be fine. And if not, we'll just, stick it up in the air somewhere. You just don't want, the good thing about this is you don't want it running out if you get it upside down. You don't want all the fuel running out. So that's why you want to make sure you got a valve on the other end. So that's probably what that's all about. That's pretty much it. That's all, folks. I think I've heard that somewhere before. Got the gas tank in. She looks pretty good, right? And she ain't going nowhere. She's working. Got her hooked up at top. Now you guys are probably watching that going, what the heck is he doing up there? I've got my little gas caps on there. Everything's done as far as the gas tank goes. So yes, it is possible. Now I know the videos are getting kind of long. In fact, I think somebody commented that my gas tank video was too long on making this one to where it would work. So he might comment again and tell me again that, this one's too long. So we're going to cut it short. I still got a bunch of stuff to do underneath the car. We're going to get the starter in. We're going to hook up the Z-bar and or torque tube for the clutch. We got a bunch of stuff. We're going to try to finish everything up underneath the car, but we're going to conclude this particular episode now. So as usual, if you haven't subscribed, why not? Please do so. It helps me out. Like I said, my goal is to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That gives me about 6 months. I just watched a video this morning of somebody, and he goes 2. I was like, 2? he's go back to school or something. Anyway, so 2. So 6 months, right? That's 5, 6. Yeah, that is. That's 6, right? 6. So 6 months. I'd like to be able to do that. If y'all could help me out, just tell your friends, your family, and whoever else might, Shoot, so I got a niece that loves my chicken videos. She doesn't watch the car ones. She just watches the chicken ones. So hopefully there's something for everybody. But if not, at least you car guys, if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe. And as usual, if you don't like them, don't watch them.